first grade. Today we're going to read the story called Monarch Butterfly by Gail Gibbons. A monarch butterfly settles on the leaf of a milkweed plant. Remember, milkweed plants are poisonous, and so monarch butterflies like to lay their eggs there because that's what the caterpillars eat. She gently presses a tiny egg onto one of its leaves. The egg is the beginning of another monarch butterfly. It's summertime in the north. A breeze stirs the stem of the milkweed plant. The monarch egg is white and shiny. It is the size of a small dot and sticks to the leaf. And it's just this little dot right here. When the butterfly lays the egg, she makes it sticky. Wind and rain cannot make the egg come loose. In a few days, the egg hatches. Out crawls a small caterpillar, also called a larva. First, the caterpillar eats the eggshell and then chews away at the milkweed leaf. The egg of a monarch is almost always laid on a milkweed plant. The plant will be its food. Remember, our larva, the caterpillar, monarch caterpillars eat milkweed plants. So it's a good thing that it got laid on a milkweed plant. The caterpillar eats and grows and begins to change. It breaks out of its old skin, showing a new skin underneath. This is called molting. For 2 weeks, the caterpillar eats and eats. It molts about 5 times. Finally, it is a full-grown monarch caterpillar, about 2 inches long, so they're about this big. And they eat and grow and grow. Now something wonderful begins to happen. The caterpillar creeps to the stem of a leaf. It attaches itself to the stem and drops down head first. The caterpillar's bright colors become greenish. Then the skin splits and moves up to the top. The skin falls off. A new, strange form appears. It is called the chrysalis, or pupa. The chrysalis is like a blanket that is wrapped around the body growing inside. So our caterpillar went from its egg stage to its larva stage, where it grows to be about this big, and then it forms into its pupa stage and it makes a chrysalis. At first, the chrysalis is long and soft. Then it shrinks and hardens. It becomes light green, decorated with gold dots. Inside, the monarch butterfly begins to grow. About 2 weeks later, the chrysalis changes again. It turns gray-green before becoming transparent. Inside are white dots and orange and black lines. So it turns this light green and gets small and hard. And then as the butterfly starts to become an adult, the chrysalis becomes clear and you can start to see the butterfly inside of it. The chrysalis wiggles, then it splits open. The butterfly begins to pull itself out. The head and legs appear first, and then the rest of it slides out. The wings are tiny and stuck together, and the butterfly's abdomen is big. The abdomen becomes smaller when its fluid is pumped into the wings. The wings become bigger. A caterpillar has turned into a butterfly. This is called metamorphosis. So we went from the egg to the larva to the chrysalis to the adult butterfly, the adult monarch butterfly. So we went through the whole life cycle. The butterfly sits quietly for a few hours, waiting for its wings to dry and harden. At last, they begin to move slowly and then beat faster and faster. The butterfly flutters up toward the sky. Monarchs have a bad taste and will make a bird or animal sick if they're eaten, so most of them are left alone. Ooh, so this butterfly has defenses. It's poisonous, so when other animals eat it, they get sick, and so they don't eat it again. There are many parts to a butterfly. So we have our wing. Our scales are really, really small on the butterfly's wings and body, and they kind of look like powder when you get them off. We've got our head with the proboscis, which is that straw-like tube that they use to drink. We've got their feeler or their antenna, which are those parts that stick out of their head that let them see and touch. The monarch butterfly only flies during the day. When it rains, the butterfly stays dry, hidden under leaves. So butterflies are diurnal. That means they're awake during the daytime. Fall is on the way. Soon it will be cold. If the monarch butterfly doesn't fly south, it will die. Once again, it darts up into the sky. The butterfly will take a long trip to a warmer place. This is called migration. So when we were learning about moths and butterflies, we learned that some moths and butterflies will move to a different part of the country or to a different country to stay warm when it gets cold in the winter. The monarch will fly to where its ancestors have always gone, sometimes to the very same tree. Other monarchs keep appearing, making a cloud of orange in the sky. At night, they rest in the trees. Sometimes they fly up to 12 miles an hour and almost 100 miles in one day. There could be over 1,000 butterflies traveling together. They fly to places such as Florida, Southern California, and Mexico. Some butterflies migrate 4,000 miles. They will stay south throughout the winter. Wow, that's a really long way to travel to stay warm. Some towns and cities are proud to have the butterflies visit them. They have festivals to celebrate their arrival. Children dress up for parades in butterfly costumes. Sometimes there's a band and visitors come from all around. So when these butterflies travel, sometimes people that live in the cities where the butterflies migrate to like to have celebrations and festivals when the butterflies start migrating, because it's really exciting and really cool to watch. Monarchs can cluster together, thousands of them clinging to one tree, a butterfly tree. In the spring, these butterflies will migrate north again to the fields of milkweed plants. So they move to these warmer climates, and then when it gets warm again, they come back. And that is the end of our story about the monarch butterfly. Hi, first grade. Today, we are going to do a nice review of everything we've learned so far. So in the last 6 days, we have learned lots and lots and lots about butterflies. So today, we're going to go over some of the things that we've learned about butterflies. The first ones I want to go through is on my door, and these are the sentence stems that we've done so far. After we do this part of my at-home classroom, we're going to move over to vocabulary, and we're going to go through some stuff over there, okay? Make sure that you're staying with me. I'm going to try and go slow. I'm going to try and do it so that we all know what we're learning, okay? Let's get started. At the beginning, we learned about caterpillars. We learned some different things that caterpillars eat, and we learned how caterpillars protect themselves. So caterpillars eat leaves of trees and plants with flowers. Caterpillars like to eat plants, especially the ones that they are born on. So the mom butterfly will lay their eggs on the plant that the caterpillar will eat. Caterpillars protect themselves by poison, camouflage, eye spots, and bad smells. So they have lots of different ways to protect themselves. These keep them safe from predators that would like to munch on a little caterpillar. After we learned about caterpillars, we went into metamorphosis, and metamorphosis happens inside of the chrysalis. Inside of the chrysalis, our caterpillar becomes kind of a goo, and then it reforms as a butterfly. But every step of the life cycle helps change this little egg into an adult butterfly. Metamorphosis is when certain animals, not all animals, certain animals transform to their adult forms. So it's important to remember the life cycle during this part, as we start as an egg and we move into the larva stage. Another word for larva is caterpillar. Then we move into the chrysalis stage, or the scientific word is the pupa stage. During this pupa stage, our caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, and that's where our metamorphosis happens. We're going to move to the bottom two next. Hi, first grade. So, after we learned about caterpillars and metamorphosis, we started learning about adult butterflies, and we learned what they eat and how they protect themselves. And it's a little bit different than caterpillars, but a lot of it is the same. So, butterflies eat nectar. So, butterflies have a part of their body called a proboscis, and that works like a straw. So, butterflies don't have mouths like you and me. They have this proboscis that they use to slurp up nectar from flowers. Butterflies protect themselves by bright colors, poison, eye spots, or camouflage. So these reasons are the same as they were for our caterpillar. Butterflies use the same kind of defenses to help protect themselves. After we learned about butterflies, we decided to look at the differences between butterflies and moths. So our first part of that's over here, and then the next part we're going to move over and look at that one. Our first part says, butterflies and moths are different because moths have feathery antennae, which means their antennae can be different shapes. Moths are plumper and fuzzier, and moths are nocturnal. So if you remember, moths are awake during the night. Butterflies are diurnal or awake during the daytime. We're going to move over to our other page on moths and butterflies and look at some more differences and similarities. So, when we learned the differences between moths and butterflies, we made this really nice chart. This is also in your packet, just like everything else we've gone over. So if you need to, you can always go back through your packet. It's going to have lots of really, really good information for you to go through. So, on one side we have our moth. On the other side, we have our butterfly. So both of them, that means butterflies and moths, both are insects. They both have scales that cover their body and wings, and their wings are covered with a powdery substance. So remember, they both have these three things. Now, moths are different than butterflies because they're nocturnal. They're awake during the night. They have feathery antennae. You can see they're a little bit thicker. They look a little bit more like feathers. And they're plumper and fuzzier. You can see in the body's bigger than a butterfly, and it's kind of fuzzy looking. It looks like it's got some hair on it. Now, butterflies are different than moths. Butterflies' antennae are wide at the tips. That means at the end, they're wide, and they'll usually have like a little bulb, which looks like a little circle. But they're thin throughout the rest of the antenna. The next thing that butterflies are diurnal. Butterflies tend to be awake during the daytime. So unlike moths, butterflies are awake in the day. And the last thing is butterflies tend to have really colorful, pretty wings, while moths tend to have really dull wings. So those are some really key differences between moths and butterflies that you need to remember. Okay, the next thing we're going to move to is we're going to move to compound eyes, and we're going to move to pollination. After that, we're going to do vocabulary and the life cycle. Okay. For butterflies, we learned about pollination. Pollination is when different insects and animals move pollen from one plant to a different plant. So butterflies are very helpful in helping plants grow because pollination is an essential part of plant growth. Without pollination, a lot of plants would not grow, and we wouldn't have a lot of the foods that we have today. So butterflies help plants grow by moving pollen to other plants. One important thing to remember is that butterflies land on plants to get nectar using their proboscis. While they're getting nectar, pollen from the plant will stick to the butterfly's little legs so that when the butterfly flies to a different plant and lands on that one, the pollen from the first plant is transferred to a different plant. Our last sentence stem has to do with compound eyes. Compound eyes is a part of a butterfly. It's the eye part of the butterfly. Compound eyes are big, which means that they tend to bulge out of the butterfly and stick out. And compound lenses are thousands of really tiny lenses put together. So compound eyes are much different from human eyes. A compound eye is different from a simple eye because they can see thousands of images at once. Other things to consider and remember: compound eyes can see things that move really fast. Compound eyes are not able to focus, so a lot of the images tend to be blurry-ish. And compound eyes take thousands of pictures and put them all together into one picture in the butterfly's mind. So compound eyes are very different from human eyes. They are not the same. Human eyes only have one lens that we use to see things far away, to see things close up, and we only get to see one picture. Okay, awesome. We're gonna move over to vocabulary, and then we're gonna move to life cycle. With me today, I have all of the pictures of our vocabulary words. We're going to go through each vocabulary word. Remember, on your test, there is a part of it that is specifically vocabulary definitions. These are found at the beginning of your packet, already written out for you, and we're going to go over them again right now, so make sure you're listening very closely. Our first word is metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a series of physical changes that some animals go through to become adults. We've talked about metamorphosis multiple times. We've gone over it once in this review, and we had a whole lesson on it before that. Our next word is chrysalis. Chrysalis is a hard shell spun by a caterpillar, moth, or other insect where metamorphosis takes place. Metamorphosis happens inside of the chrysalis. Inside this chrysalis is the butterfly, is the caterpillar becoming a butterfly, and this chrysalis looks different for different insects. Our next word is antenna, and it is part of the butterfly's body. An antenna is a long appendage attached to the head of a butterfly used to sense its environment. Butterflies' eyes are not super good. They have eyes that can see, but they're not very focused. Antennae help the butterfly to feel the things around it and to interact with its environment, such as with smell. Another part of the butterfly is the proboscis. The proboscis is a long straw-like tube that's used to drink nectar out of plants. So remember, it's curled up, but when they drink, it straightens out and it works just like a straw. Our next word is another part of the butterfly's body, and it's called the compound eye. For compound eye, I have two really good pictures to share with you. The first one is a close-up. The compound eye of a butterfly is made up of many individual lenses. Here it is on the butterfly. And here's the close-up where you can see all of the really cool lenses. Our next word is a part of the caterpillar's body, which we will go over in just a little bit. This is called prolegs. Remember, prolegs don't work like true legs. Prolegs have little hooks on them, and they're used to stick onto leaves, plants, trees, branches, all of that fun stuff so the caterpillar doesn't fall off. And our last word is camouflage. Camouflage is a way that butterflies and caterpillars protect themselves from predators. They blend in to the environment. In this example, this butterfly is blending in with the plant, the leaves that it is on. Today, we're going to be learning about the life cycle of the butterfly. And by learning, I mean reviewing. We've talked about the life cycle since day one. Our first stage of the life cycle is the egg stage. Butterfly eggs are very small, and they're almost always laid on plants that the caterpillars will eat when they hatch. Once the caterpillar hatches out of the egg, we move into the larva stage. Larva is the stage that our butterfly is a caterpillar. The first meal that a larva eats is its eggshell, and then they eat and eat and eat to move into the pupa stage. Once our caterpillar get big and full of nutrients, they form a chrysalis. That's them moving into the pupa stage. In this stage, metamorphosis happens. The larva turns into like a goo and reforms as an adult butterfly. So this pupa will turn colors from this light green into kind of a clear chrysalis that you can see the adult butterfly in. The adult butterfly is the last stage of the butterfly life cycle, and it's when our egg has made a full growth into an adult butterfly. Adult butterflies will lay eggs, and the cycle will start all over again. The last two things we're going to review today is we're going to review the parts of a caterpillar and the parts of a butterfly just for you, and then we're going to move into the instructions for today. Here you can see the parts of a caterpillar. Caterpillars have lots of different parts. It's important that you look at every single part. If you need a refresher, please go back to the video on parts of a caterpillar and parts of a butterfly to get a really good in-depth look at the different parts of a caterpillar. Parts of a butterfly are very important. The parts of a butterfly are found on your test today, so make sure that you know each part of the butterfly. Okay, we're going to move into instructions. Good luck. You've got this. I will see you next time. Bye. Hi, first grade. So our directions today. We have done almost all of the packet up to this point. Today, you're going to do your butterfly test, and we're doing this after the review. So if you watch the beginning of the video, we read a story, and we get the chance to go over everything that we've learned. So it's really important that you sit, you listen, and you make sure that you understand all of it so that you do super good on this test. What I want you to do is take your packet and flip it over. I want you to turn one page and flip it. So it looks like this. Okay, you're going to, for the first part, here's the vocabulary word, and here are the definitions. I want you to write the letter of the definition that matches the vocabulary word. For the next part, you have to write your answer to the question. When you're done with this side, I want you to flip it and do the other side. I want you to label your butterfly. On this one, I want you to write true or false next to the sentence. And on this last one, I want you to fill it in with the correct word, okay? So that's your butterfly test. You are allowed to use all of your notes in your packet. You're also allowed to go back through the video to make sure that you understand it, okay? You are not allowed to use your parent or your siblings for help. I want you to do this. If you need help with spelling, that's okay. But I want you to answer, okay? Good luck.